possibly be an overlap between jazz and flamenco? You ever thought about that? Just think about it. Just think about it, man. If you played Spanish guitar before, you've no doubt heard this sound. Going E to F. Maybe you got this one. A to B flat. That sound is characteristically Spanish, right? We don't see that in the major scale, or do we? Well. Let's check this out. If we were in the key of E major, we would expect a B7 chord to be the 5. Now we're just talking about the major scale now, which you may be familiar with, and that B7 chord wants to resolve to E major. Over in the key of C, let's say, G is our 5 chord, better yet G7, and then it resolves back. So there's something special about the 5 chord that makes it want to resolve, and that is called a dominant 7th chord, or a flat 7 over a major chord. So here is B7. Okay, the notes that really give that tension are the major 3rd and the flat 7, because that wants to go like this to E. See what happened there? These two notes, dissonance, right? Sounds kind of like it wants to go somewhere, and then it feels like we're done here. So that is the essence of Western harmony. That's the major scale in a nutshell there. That's what's so important about the major scale. So you might have G7 to C, right? A7 to D. You can also do it to a minor chord. That idea here of going to a minor chord is using the major scale and inserting it into the minor scales. But there's a concept in jazz called tritone substitution that is such an essential part of getting some weird chords. Let's say we're going to an F chord. All right, C is our 5 chord, and adding this B flat really makes it want to resolve more to F in this case. But these two notes, when played together, that's called a tritone. It's called a tritone because the distance from here to there is 3 whole steps, 3 full steps, right? When played together, that's pretty dissonant. So a C7 chord has that in there, but so does a G flat 7 chord. So watch this. G flat 7. So that's called a substitution, a tritone substitution. This note G flat is a tritone away from C, and now we can take G flat 7 and resolve to F. The girl from Ipanema does that. We got F major 7. Instead of C7, that would totally still work. We have G flat 7 with a flat 5. That flat 5 is just a note in the key. It's actually less disruptive, scary sounding name, but it's less disruptive than a regular dominant 7th chord this way. Flat the 5, and it's got a note that is already in the 1 chord. You're no doubt familiar with that sound. Very jazz thing. But now we have a major chord a half step up from the tonic, from the root. That is the flamenco sound. So we could say that instead of calling this phrygian, maybe this chord is just a tritone substitution for the regular old 5-to-1 cadence, which is called an authentic cadence that we've been hearing our whole lives. Like here's E, B7, so they go to E, but F, better yet F7, still has that same note that I was talking about earlier, D sharp and A. It's still there. So in a flamenco form like Soleil, you hear this sometimes. So we're going F to E. There's an F, there's an E. That's our Spanish sound. But very often you can flip these over. There's B7, so they kind of did a reverse substitution there. This is the regular old major scale harmony rearing its head inside of a Spanish flamenco thing. Let's take a bossa like Black Orpheus, where we have A minor, B minor 7 flat 5 to E7. That's a 2-5-1 progression. So what would the substitution be here? B flat 7. I'm playing a B flat 9 chord to B flat dominant 7th, because these two notes in a B flat 7, it sounds pretty weird, are the same notes that really make E7 want to resolve to A minor or A major. So maybe now you can see the connection between the Girl from Ipanema and something like Malagueña, where it has that 2 major chords right next to each other. And that is called the Phrygian dominant scale. You very often hear it called that. But does the Phrygian dominant scale really exist at all, or is it just a manipulation of the major scale using that tritone substitution?